Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Amanda. Thank you so much for tuning in. All of the products that will be used in today's video will be conveniently linked for you in the description box below. No need to go searching for these items, just click on the link and make your purchase. Now let's get started. Okay, so the tumbler we're working with today for this project is a 30-ounce skinny screw top from Craft Haven. And as always, I will double check their website to be sure they carry this particular tumbler and list that for you in the description box. It has been sanded and washed and ready for our first step. So with this being October, being Halloween and Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I thought these pink vinyls from 311 Co. were the perfect item for this project. So these are called Boo Patches is the name of this particular vinyl. And we have two different ones. One is translucent and one is opaque. I do have a coupon code for you for 10% off, which is right here on the screen. And it will also be listed for you in the description box. Now, besides these two vinyls, we are going to also be working with some pink, orange, and silver foil from the Glitter Grind. And we are going to be doing two different projects. We are making a tumbler, and we are also making a bonus item. So be sure to stick around for the entire video so that you can see what we do with these two vinyls. The paint we're going to be using for our tumbler is going to be Farmer's Daughter from Color Shot, and we're just using a plain white from Rustoleum. We're going to, I wouldn't really say ombre the tumbler, but we are going to sort of blend the pink and white. I don't want a harsh line between the two. You can do that if you want, but I'm just going to sort of spray paint mine back and forth and get a pretty good blend of the colors in the center of the tumbler. And then we will go in with approximately 7.5 milliliters of epoxy for our glitters. The amount of epoxy that you will need to apply your glitter is going to be dependent upon the size of your tumbler as well as the cut and size of your glitter. So the chunkier the cut of glitter and the more glitter, of course, you're going to need a little bit more epoxy. That glitter will soak it up. And so, that's going to be dependent on what type of glitter and what size tumbler you're using. And you can apply your glitter however you want. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to make a distinct mark and do pink on one end and white on the other. Again, we're just going to kind of blend our pink and white. Again, I don't know that I would necessarily call it an ombre as much as we're just doing a blend. So I'm going to go ahead and let this footage play out. It is sped up to a 2 and just let you watch the glittering process. Again, you can glitter your tumbler however you like. Once that cured, I did go ahead and seal my glitter with glitter glue and water mixture, just a 50-50 ratio of each, and then went in with 2 coats of 30 milliliters each of epoxy. And you want to be sure that your tumbler is completely smooth, as we are going to be adding the transparent vinyl to this tumbler. And we're just going to treat it like a full vinyl wrap. And as I have mentioned in previous videos, if you are doing a wrap or any sort of item that's going to be wrapping around your tumbler and you need it to remain straight and not stray off to one side or the other, if you can get a very straight line for the very beginning of the vinyl, then 9 times out of 10, it is going to go around the tumbler completely smooth and completely straight. So that is the most important thing when applying vinyl, is making sure that your first line is completely straight. And normally I draw a line on my tumbler so that I can get a straight line. However, because this vinyl is transparent, if I draw a line on the tumbler at this point, it is going to potentially show through the vinyl. Now, can you apply the vinyl and then peel up that little bit and remove the line? Sure, I guess you could, but I just didn't want to do that. So it does take me a moment here to get it started straight. But once I get it straight, then it goes on beautifully. And I just think this looks so cute over the pink and white glitter. I just love how it turned out. Now, you will notice there's also just a small gap between the beginning of the vinyl and the ending of the vinyl. That's okay. When I measured the tumbler, I didn't take into account the coats of epoxy that were going to be needed prior to applying the vinyl. I just didn't think about it. But for me, for this design, it doesn't matter because we're going to be adding a spider web, and I'm going to use that gap as the beginning of my spider web, and it will cover most of that gap. If that's something you're concerned with, then like I said, prior to cutting your vinyl, either go ahead and get your coats of glitter and epoxy on and then measure, or if you measure before applying anything, take into consideration that it's going to be a little bit thicker than what your measurement is. But again, for this design, it's not really going to make a big deal. Okay, and then once you get your vinyl on the tumbler, you'll want to go ahead and seal this with either Rustoleum's 2 times clear spray paint or glitter glue and water mixture or polyacrylic, something like that, because this vinyl, being transparent especially, does want to repel the epoxy. And then once that cures, you're ready to go in to the next step, which is, for me, what I did was I created this template and then cut it out of double-sided adhesive tape. I have 2 different places I get my adhesive tape, and I'll list both of those for you. I believe this one was the one I received from Southern Belle Glitter, but I also have some that I use from Artistry Epoxy, and I will link, like I said, both of those. Now, I'm just weeding out the section that I do not want. In hindsight, I did not have to do it this way. I could have just cut them all next to one another to save my double-sided tape. But initially, this design was going to have a border and be um, like for a wrap. And so anyway, if you recreate this, you don't have to space them out the way that they are here. So that's basically the bottom line. We're going to go ahead and weed out our spider web sections that we do not need. And I'm just kind of feeling after I peel up that white part, I'm just kind of feeling on the blue to make sure that the sticky backing has been removed as well, because you do want to get both layers on this tape. As mentioned, it's double-sided. So once you remove the top white layer, it's sticky, and then it also is sticky on the other side as well. So we are going to be using this to apply our foil. And again, because of the way that I designed this, I'm just going to go ahead and take a big transfer sheet and put over top of my double-sided tape, and I am going to apply it as a wrap. But again, you do not have to do it that way. You can design these individually and then apply them to the tumbler wherever you'd like. And then once I applied my foil and applied my epoxy, I noticed there were some spots that I was not happy with on the foil sections. So I went back and I used Southern Belle Glitter's foil adhesive, but I still wasn't happy with it. So then I also went back again and applied some more of the double-sided tape and some more foil. So you can use the Southern Belle Glitter foil adhesive or the double-sided tape. They both work, in my opinion, the same way. I mean, I didn't see any big difference between the two. I will warn you, the foil adhesive from Southern Belle Glitter smells like rotten eggs when you first open it. It was the first time I had used it, and it smelled horrible. Even with my mask on, I could smell it, and it permeated throughout the room for quite a while. So I was not a fan of that. but nonetheless, you can use double-sided adhesive or the foil. Either one will work just fine. We are not finished with this tumbler. There's a few more steps that we're going to do. However, while we theoretically have the epoxy curing on the tumbler, we're going to go ahead and move to our bonus project, which is a food tray. I have made a couple of these before on my YouTube channel. I've made several that have not been featured on my YouTube channel, but I love making these food trays. For these trays, I do use food grade safe epoxy, and I will have that listed for you in the description box as well. And this tray is just, again, a piece of wood that I've had for a while. I have several pieces of wood this size that I've had for a while, and they make great food trays. So we just went in and painted this tray, mixed up our epoxy, and I just did a mixture of glitters. These may be the same glitters I used for the tumbler. I'm not really sure. And I say that because the tray had some more glitters on it that I didn't use on the tumbler. But these are the glitters I used. And then I just sort of did sections because my thought process on this was kind of like, since the vinyl was called Boo Patches, my thought process was kind of to make the glitter be in like patch sections on the tray. And then I mixed up some more epoxy and some black glitter. And we're just going to sort of make like random sections, kind of like, I don't know, sometimes my mind is a scary place to be because, besides the patch process or the patch idea, I kind of had like this idea of like like a creepy road leading up to a haunted house with like cobblestones. So like the pink glitter kind of is reminiscent for the cobblestones, and the black glitter is like the, concrete or mortar between the stones. I don't know. It sounds crazy now that I'm saying it, but that's just kind of what I was thinking in my head. But you can do it however you want. But so that's kind of where we're going with this. Okay, so once you have your glitters down and that has cured, go ahead and put one coat of epoxy over top. And I think for this size tray, I used between 60 to 80 milliliters of epoxy. Now, let me make a correction. I did use black glitter, but I actually had forgotten. I used this black mica powder first, and then I remember it wasn't as dark and prominent as I wanted it to be. So then I went back and mixed some epoxy and glitter and applied that to the tray. So for some reason, I don't have footage of that, but I did use the glitter you'll be able to see it in the pictures at the end, but I just, for some reason, don't have the footage of me adding the glitter. But I did first just add the mica powder. And like I said, I wanted some more glitter somewhere and it just wasn't what I wanted. So I did go ahead and add the glitter after this step. Okay, now we're going to switch back to our tumbler, and you can see I have the foil on the tumbler, and it does have a coat of epoxy over top. But like I said, I wasn't happy with it, so I'm applying another layer of that double-sided tape over top of the current spider web that I have. Something else that I didn't do that I should have, and this is what happens when I get in a hurry. So I get really, really anxious sometimes to get my videos out. And this is going to be a knotted tumbler that I sell. So I was just trying to hurry up and get it done. And I really should have moved my spider web down a little bit lower and or trimmed up the top just a little bit, because the vinyl did want to bunch and pucker at the top and did sort of leave some unsightly marks on the tumbler. So just keep that in mind. Don't put your spider web or any of your, foil decor up close to the top like I did, because that double-sided tape is, it's a little bit thick. It will kind of bunch and buckle, and you will be able to see it. It will be very noticeable. Even when you sand the rim of your tumbler and sand that area, it can still show up. So, something there to think about. Once I applied the last layer of foil and I was happy with it, I did go ahead and make an offset for the spider web. And I'm going to apply this orange, like holographic, metallic-y vinyl to the spider web. And then we're going to take some more of that transparent vinyl and apply just one piece over one of the bats. Now, one thing I did want to mention before adding your vinyl to the top of the foil section, be sure you have added another layer of epoxy between the two. Otherwise, if you mess up with your vinyl application and have to remove the vinyl, it could potentially damage the foil. Before we do the finishing touches on our tumbler, let's go ahead and switch back to the tray and finish that up. And I'm just going to randomly place the vinyl on the tray. And what I've done is I just sort of cut out sections of the vinyl, and again, kind of going with that like patchy theme. And I'm going to randomly place the vinyl. And then once the vinyl is adhered to the tray, we're going to go ahead and apply another coat of epoxy. And then I added in some sparkle dust from Sandy's Organized Chaos to just give it a little bit more sparkle. We're going to add our handles and let that cure, and then add another and final coat of epoxy, and this tray is complete. I think it is so cute. This actually was for my daughter's birthday party, and so I was able to give it to her, and she thought it was really cute. So, and now moving back to the tumbler, I failed to mention that I did the sanding of my tumbler prior to applying the vinyl offset. And then, of course, cleaned up all the sanding debris before adding the vinyl offset. And then once your vinyl offset is added, you can go ahead and add your final coat of epoxy. I did go ahead and decorate the lid of the tumbler with some UV resin, foil, and glitter. And this little pink Halloween cutie is done. Now, as mentioned, I was really excited to get this tumbler out there. I wish I had taken a little bit more time, moved things around a little bit. My spider web was too close to the top. My little bat was a little bit too close to the bottom. Just some little things like that. But overall, I loved how this turned out. And I do want to make another one just like this. But again, taking my time and doing it a little bit better. But I hope this has given you all some inspiration. You know, one of the greatest compliments as a creator, designer, artist, whatever, is when someone says, your cup or your craft inspired me. I love that. Everyone may not like the designs that I do, but if I can give you some inspiration and get someone excited about their next project, then I love that. So I hope it has inspired everyone. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. I do have 2 more Halloween tumblers coming, so I'm super excited about those. And as always, I thank everyone for tuning in and watching my videos. It means so much to me, and I hope everyone has a blessed day.